Imagine a crisp autumn morning in a quiet suburban town, where the leaves whispered secrets to the wind and the distant hum of traffic felt worlds away. A little girl, no more than 8 years old, stood alone by a freshly dug grave, her small hands trembling as she clutched a worn stuffed rabbit, her only companion in a world that had just turned upside down. This is the story of a child whose innocence was shattered, but whose spirit found an unexpected light in the kindness of a stranger. It's a reminder that even in our busiest lives, a single act of compassion can rewrite someone's entire future. The air was thick with the scent of rain-soaked earth as family and friends gathered around the cemetery gates. Little Sarah, name as simple and sweet as the wildflowers she used to pick with her dad, watched in numb silence as the wooden casket holding her father was lowered into the ground. He had been her everything. The one who chased away monsters under the bed with silly songs. The one who bandaged her scraped knees with gentle hands. The one who whispered every night that she was his greatest treasure, no matter what storms life brought. But cancer doesn't listen to promises. It had stolen him away too soon, leaving Sarah with a hollow ache that no words could fill. As the last echoes of the minister's prayer faded, the mourners began to drift away, offering awkward pats on the back and murmured condolences. Sarah's eyes, red and puffy from endless tears, searched the crowd for comfort. But there, lingering like a shadow, was her stepmother, Karen, dressed in somber black that matched the storm clouds gathering overhead. She played the part of the grieving widow flawlessly. Yet beneath that facade burned a resentment that had simmered for years. Karen had married Sarah's father for security, not for the baggage of a stepdaughter she never wanted. With him gone, the mask slipped away, revealing the cold indifference she'd hidden so well. The drive back to the sprawling house on Maple Street, place once filled with laughter and weekend barbecues, felt endless. Sarah sat in the back seat, her rabbit pressed against her chest like a shield. The moment they pulled into the driveway, Karen's demeanor shifted. She stormed inside, yanking open drawers and closets with furious energy. Sarah's clothes, her favorite polka dot dress, the cozy sweaters her dad had bought were hurled into a battered old duffel bag. "You're not my problem anymore," Karen snarled, her voice sharp as broken glass. Sarah's heart pounded in confusion. But, where will I go?" she whispered, her voice barely audible over the slamming of doors. Before Sarah could process the words, Karen dragged her outside, the bag tossed carelessly onto the gravel. The little girl pleaded, her knees buckling as she knelt on the cold ground. "Please. I'm sorry. I'll be good. I promise." Though she'd done nothing to deserve this cruelty, desperation made her grasp at any thread of hope. Karen's response was a splash of icy water from a nearby bucket, drenching Sarah from head to toe. The shock stole her breath, her sobs mixing with the chill that seeped into her bones. Neighbors peeked from behind curtains. A jogger slowed his pace but kept moving, and a delivery driver averted his eyes, everyone seeing, but no one stepping in. The world felt vast and unforgiving, the afternoon sun mocking her with its indifferent warmth. Sarah huddled there, water dripping from her curls, her rabbit now sodden and limp in her arms. The duffel bag had split open, spilling her few belongings like discarded dreams. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours, her small body shivering not just from the cold, but from the bone-deep fear of being utterly alone. Just as despair threatened to swallow her whole, the low rumble of an engine broke the silence. A sleek black SUV eased to a stop at the curb. The door swung open, and out stepped a man in his 40s, dressed in a tailored suit that spoke of boardrooms and success. His name was Michael, a self-made entrepreneur whose tech company had turned him into one of the wealthiest people in the state. But money wasn't what defined him. That date was the flicker of empathy in his hazel eyes. Born from his own scars of a lonely childhood after losing his parents young, Michael had been en route to a crucial investor meeting, his mind racing with spreadsheets and strategies, when he caught sight of the heartbreaking scene. A child, abandoned and humiliated on her own doorstep, right after burying her father. It hit him like a freight train, stirring memories of his own nights curled up in foster homes, yearning for anyone to see his worth. Without hesitation, he parked and approached, his polished shoes crunching on the gravel. Sarah looked up through blurred vision, her heart skipping a beat. For a split second, in her grief-fogged mind, he seemed like a guardian angel, kneeling beside her, heedless of the mud staining his pants. Michael spoke softly, his voice steady and warm. "Hey there, kiddo. This isn't right. No one deserves to be treated like this, especially not today." He gently helped her gather her scattered things, zipping the duffel with care. Karen burst out of the house, her face twisted in rage. Who do you think you are? She's not your concern. Take her if you want, she's nothing but trouble. Michael stood tall, meeting her glare without flinching. If you can turn your back on a grieving child, then you're the one who's lost. I'll make sure she's safe, loved, and never feels unwanted again. The confrontation drew a small crowd, neighbors, finally emerging, phones in hand, murmuring in shock. Karen, realizing she was outmatched by Michael's quiet authority, and the growing witnesses, retreated inside with a final slam of the door. For Sarah, that sound wasn't defeat. It was the closing of a painful chapter. Michael offered his hand, helping her to her feet. Come on, let's get you out of here, he said, leading her to the car. As they drove away, the house shrinking in the rearview mirror, Sarah felt a tentative spark of safety for the first time since her dad's diagnosis. The transition wasn't seamless. In Michael's spacious home, overlooking the city skyline, a world away from her old life, Sarah wrestled with nightmares that jerked her awake, screaming for her father. Trust didn't come easy. She flinched at sudden noises, hoarded food under her pillow, and tested boundaries, waiting for the other shoe to drop. But Michael was patient, drawing on resources from his own therapy journeys. He enrolled her in a top school, surrounded her with books and toys, and hired a counselor to help unpack her trauma. More than that, he showed up, cooking breakfast, together on weekends, taking her to parks where they flew kites, and sharing stories of his own hardships to show her she wasn't alone. Over time, the wounds began to heal. Sarah's laughter echoed through the halls during movie nights. Her artwork covered the fridge, and she even started a small garden in the backyard, planting seeds as a metaphor for new beginnings. The community took notice too. Whispers shifted, from pity to admiration, how a busy mogul like Michael had opened his heart and home, proving that true wealth lies in lifting others up. Sarah's school friends envied her cool dad, and local news even featured their story anonymously, inspiring donations to children's charities. One crisp spring day, nearly a year later, Sarah and Michael visited her father's grave. She placed a bouquet of daisies, his favorite, on the headstone, and whispered, "I'm okay now. Daddy, I found someone who cares. Just like you did." Michael stood nearby, a quiet pillar of support, his eyes misty as he watched her grow stronger. As they walked back hand in hand, the sun warming their faces, Sarah realized family isn't always about blood, it's about the bonds we choose, the kindness we extend when it matters most. This tale isn't just about one girl and one man. It's a call to all of us. In a world that moves so fast, where headlines scream division and hardship, remember that compassion costs nothing but changes everything. If you've ever felt lost or unseen, know that hope can arrive in the most unexpected forms. And if you're in a position to help, whether with a kind word, a helping hand, or opening your door, do it. Because stories like Sarah's remind us, kindness isn't a weakness. It's the greatest strength we have. What act of compassion will you share today? Your choice could be someone's lifeline.